Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. There's nothing like some family drama to flare up that chronic pain. Today in the rLounge, you can't break a family that was already shattered by decades of bad decisions. Am I the a-hole for going no contact with my mom and destroying my brother's perfect family? Long story. I will try to boil it down. I am 46 female and my brother is 35 male. My brother is the golden child, and ever since he was born, my mother was never the same towards me. I've never held that against him, as he didn't choose this role, and I know he feels guilty, even though it's not his fault, and I tell him that. I practically raised my brother from the age of 6 months old to 5 years old when I moved out. I was 11 years old when I started taking care of him, changing diapers, feeding him, bathing him, and putting him to sleep. I used to take him with me to visit and play with my friends. I loved him like he was my own son, and still consider him my first child. My mom has periodically been verbally abusive towards me since I was 11 years old, screaming at me, calling me ungrateful, spoiled, and untrustworthy, although I have never been any of that. When she wasn't being abusive, she was either a loving mom or distant and neglectful. This has obviously effed with my head, as I loved the loving mom, but the other side of her has been hurting me for 35 years. She has only said sorry once, and it was said in a mocking, childish way. Sorry, okay, sorry. My mom is also incredibly manipulative. I have tried to forgive her and given her a second chance over and over. For 35 years. And for 35 years I have suffered the abuse 2 to 3 times a year, and a lot more often when I was a teenager. I have suffered through all of this for my brother's sake. I didn't want to leave him behind with only my mom as family. Our dad died when my brother was 14. He was verbally abusive too. After my mom's last attack, I was done. I had a chronic pain condition that is affected by stress and is getting worse for every attack. Not to mention, my mental health is suffering. I cut contact with my mom in February, and my brother has been trying to get me to forgive my mom and let her back in my life, ever since. I can't take the abusive mom anymore, but I am also grieving the loving mom I'm losing too. My brother kept guilt-tripping me, and I finally lost it. I screamed at him. Do you have any idea what dark places mom makes me go to? That last time she attacked me, I didn't want to be here anymore. I was desperately trying to make him understand. He hung up on me. I wrote him a very long message explaining everything I have gone through and that he needed to respect my decision and my boundaries. The next Monday, I got a phone call from my doctor. She needed to do a welfare check on me, as my mom had called me with concern for my well-being. I wrote to my brother, I ask you to respect my boundaries and you contact my doctor? Wow. His answer? You are sick and need help. I will talk to you when you are better. I am devastated and unbelievably hurt, and I haven't responded. It has now been more than 2 months with no communication. I realize that he is being manipulated by my mom, but I am still incredibly hurt. My brother and I have always been very close, and this is killing me. And this is making me second guess everything. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Let's get some relevant comments and the OP's response to them. First up, I read it as worse. That brother told the mother private information between them, then mother called the police? My mom had called her with concern for my well-being. If OP's brother had called for welfare check, given he might have understood I didn't want to be here anymore, as SI or a plea for help, that would be different. But sharing OP's condition with their mother when OP had blamed her was the betrayal. The OP replies, yes, my brother told my mother, and knowing my mom, she used the information to manipulate him, saying things like, see, I told you she is mentally ill. I think we must call her doctor and have her committed. And I think it's best you leave her alone would be just the thing she would say, for the sole purpose of putting a wedge between us. She has always been jealous of how close we are, but what did she expect would happen when she handed 11-year-old me my 6-month-old brother and basically said, here you go, take care of him. I'm going to lay in bed and read magazines and eat chocolate. The next person says, don't ever speak to them again. You have to block them on everything and move away if you must. You can't afford to have these people in your life, or your mental health will continue to suffer. You have to face the fact that these people don't give an F about you and never have. Good luck. The OP responds, thank you. My mom is blocked on everything, but moving away is not an option for me, and I choose to leave the door open a tiny bit for my brother, just in case he ever realizes that he's being manipulated, but I refuse to reach out to him, and if he reaches out to me, it better be with an apology. The next opinion says this. OP going no contact with mother and possibly by extension her brother makes sense given mother's mental abuse and her brother's unwillingness to accept OP's boundaries regarding their mother. That said, OP did mention to her brother possibly wanting to end herself after an argument with the mother. Calling for a wellness check makes sense in that situation. The OP replies, I don't think it makes sense asking for a wellness check from my doctor 8 months after said incident. It was my mother who called the doctor 2 months ago after the fight with my brother. It was a brief spiraling into the dark that I was able to pull myself out of in about 20 minutes, something I have had to do after every attack since I was 11 years old. He knows this. He saw me every day for 2 weeks over the summer and could see with his own eyes that I was okay. He was trying to mend things between my mother and me then too. When he tried to guilt trip me 2 months ago is when I finally snapped and yelled at him to stop and respect my boundaries. That I couldn't allow my mother to push me into the darkness anymore. He then went to my mother and she contacted my doctor. Sorry if I'm not being clear. It's hard to boil it down to a few sentences. Another thought says this. Depending on the conversation he had with your doctor and what the doctor disclosed about you, they broke patient confidentiality. The doctor could literally lose their license if you file a complaint with the licensing board. Honestly, if you're not already, you need therapy. It will help you to figure out how to navigate a relationship with your brother while he is still connected to your mom. It will also help you to process the grief of losing your loving mom. But just know that the abuse you have been receiving the majority of your life is what you need to escape, and is why you need to go no contact. Is it possible to continue having a relationship with your brother while no contact with your mom? Yes, but it will be difficult, especially if he continues to cross boundaries. It also doesn't matter what your brother's perfect family is, because it isn't your perfect family. Your brother's 35. He needs to let go of your mother's tit and cut the umbilical cord. Edit to add, I just realized that you might have said doctor, but that it could definitely be a therapist you were referring to, since they were doing a welfare check. I haven't heard of a medical doctor doing that, but everything else I've said remains the same, including the fact that they could lose their license if you file a complaint. The OP replies, it was my family doctor, a general practitioner. She's also my mother's doctor. She did not disclose any information to her. She just listened to my side of the story and completely sided with me. Her sister is the golden child, so she knew right away where I was coming from. She made a note in my files not to disclose any information to my family, and I didn't even ask her to. She has a duty to check on her patients if a relative contacts her to ask her to do a wellness check. Our laws are perhaps different from the USA or UK. I'm in Europe. I have been in therapy for 3 years, and this is why I have the strength to go no contact with any and everyone who is harmful to my well-being. My relationship with my brother can only be saved if he gives me a massive apology and a promise to respect my boundaries in the future. If not, he's on his own. I will not engage with him until he does. The next commenter says, your brother is an adult now. You even said he noticed how mom treated him better and felt guilty. He very well can make his own decision, and no one has to scream and fight just to tell her she cannot treat you that way. It's been this way his whole life, and all you've tried to do is help, and he's not putting up with the treatment of you anymore. She can change or contact will be cut. Not the a-hole, OP. Hang in there. Family really sucks, and no one hurts you more, especially your own parents. The OP replies, thank you. He has spoken up for me before on a couple of occasions, so I still have hope that he will see how much hurt he caused me and that he will apologize and respect my boundaries. I will never allow my mom back into my life as I don't believe she will ever change. That bridge is burned for me. But my brother has never hurt me like this before. I still very much want him in my life, but I will not be the one trying to reach out to him. He needs to decide if he wants me in his life and see the error of his ways. One more opinion commenter says, not the a-hole. That is the dynamic of the golden child. He has to take up his mother's cause over his own, or yours. You think of it as manipulating him to call your doctor, but it was his choice to choose what your mother said over you because he has been conditioned to do that for his whole life. So I call this the trash taking itself out. He made the decisions to cut you out of his life because you cut your mother out of your life. He can't risk losing golden child status by supporting you. It hurts for sure, but you have the opportunity to work on your mental health without your mother's awful influence and your brother's insidious support of his mother against you, whether you have realized it or not. The OP replies, thank you for the support. My life has been a lot more peaceful and my mental state is more stress-free since I went no contact with my mother. It just hurts like hell losing him in the process. Honestly, your brother's probably afraid that if he stops sucking up to mom, his golden child status might get revoked. Cutting these people off? Definitely not the worst thing you've done. In fact, more people should do this. Trim the fat. A update. First of all, thank you for all the support. It means a lot to me. I didn't think I would get this many responses. First, a little extra information as this is relevant. My brother lives in another country and he visits twice a year, at summer and Christmas. I have hosted Christmas for the last 20 or so years, and he has spent nearly every Christmas with me, something I always look forward to. He sleeps at our mom's house as she has a guest bedroom but spends hours at my place every day he's here. We celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve in my country. My mom lives 5 minutes away by foot, so very close to my house. Now for the update. I learned that my brother came to town on December 16th from my oldest daughter. I didn't hear anything from him. I was miserable, and my boyfriend saw me get more and more sad and depressed as the days went up to Christmas Eve. The thought of him leaving the country again without me seeing him was ripping my heart apart, and my boyfriend knew that. He is himself a younger brother with an older sister, and he told me that my brother was undoubtedly too scared to reach out to me. Big sisters are scary when they're mad. After a lot of persuasion, he got me to reach out to him. He suggested I messaged him, "Want to talk?" I couldn't get myself to do that, so I sent him a gif of a woman opening her doors smiling with a big welcome sign by the door instead. And then I waited. Nothing. No reply. Christmas Eve comes, and I'm in no mood to celebrate, but I have to get it together for the kids' sake. I go take a shower and hear the pling from my phone. It's a message from my brother. "Can I come give you a hug? I'm sorry I hurt you. I was afraid I had damaged our relationship forever." I felt like sobbing with relief. I told him, "Of course you can." He came over after dinner and we talked. There were tears from both of us, especially from him. It was plain to see that this had taken a toll on him as well. He was genuinely sorry and told me it was our mother who had contacted my doctor, not him. I already knew that. He said he had accepted that my mom and I were better off being apart and that the relationship couldn't be saved. This was everything I had hoped for. We spent the rest of his trip connecting again, talked, and played board games like we always do. This was my Christmas miracle. I got my baby brother back. He flew back home today. This is my update. Your brother's apology and realization that your relationship can't be saved by your mom's manipulative actions is a huge breakthrough. He clearly cares about you, and that's nice to see. I hope it's only up from here. Spill your sibling tea in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.